The debacle after what Cal Bircher did to the Devastator, Darth Vader's ship, left Darth Vader in an emotional shamble. Not only had the rebel spy hacked the Devastator and disabled it, but he also embarrassed the entire Empire. Naturally, the instincts of a Sith Lord took over, and Vader quickly assembled a mission to not only find Cal Bircher, but heed those responsible as well to answer for their foolishness. The following secret mission from Darth Vader is seen from the eyes of Ensign Nanda, a 21-year-old female who had never been so close in proximity to Darth Vader. Well, now not only was she close, but she was embarking on a secret mission with the Dark Lord. She would be the special assistant to Darth Vader. As the Imperial crew were prepping to board the Lambda shuttle, Ensign Nanda was called upon by Darth Vader, who instructed her to fly directly to the Imperial center on Coruscant, and upon jumping to lightspeed, Vader would debrief her of the secret mission. Upon leaving, Ensign Nanda could be seen uncomfortable as Vader was just beside her. The Dark Lord warned her that this was an unsanctioned mission, and nothing that they do the next several days will appear in any official capacity. As far as her superiors were concerned, she was still aboard the Executor, continuing her mundane duty. Officially. Unofficially, she was now embarked on a mysterious mission with Darth Vader, with which the Dark Lord promised her a reward, a substantial reward at that. Upon her next review, she will be rewarded the rank of Lieutenant Commander. Ensign Nanda did nothing but thank Lord Vader, secretly being pleased. If this went through, that's 3 levels up. In her mind, she was pleased to be 5 years ahead of her peers, a 21-year-old ensign. In the eyes of Vader, this was a mission of vengeance and redemption. Those who had committed treason would be held accountable. It was a mission where all the wrongs would be righted at all costs. The ensign started to suspect that the origins of Vader's rage came from the Emperor blaming him for the destruction of the Death Star. The Emperor even attempted to contact them at that moment, but Vader denied it, simply telling her to allow herself deniability and continue with the flight. Once arriving on Coruscant, Vader and his crew landed, expecting them a befuddled officer who was not informed in the slightest. In an official capacity, Vader was a ghost, but unofficially, Vader was now at the data center on Coruscant. He proceeded to forcefully interrogate the officer in charge of the records, the Imperial records, the cadet evaluations, service records, medical history, and everything in between. His frustration came from how was Cal Bircher able to infiltrate the Imperial records. The officer pleaded with Vader that it might have been a handful of slicers in all of the galaxy. It is perhaps possible that they could have done this, but very unlikely. Vader, however, wanted names. He ordered his stormtroopers to find the chief of security and shoot him on sight, then to pull all personnel files and search for any activity within 18 months. The painful interrogation for the Major, however, was not over. Vader continued with his horrific style in much of the shock and dismay of Ensign Nanda, who literally minute for minute was not able to withstand that torture anymore. Later, she would go to the bathrooms to vomit out of disgust. In the end, his path took him to the Quat Drive Yards, the shipbuilding center of the galaxy. The Devastator, Vader's flagship, was under repair for damage sustained during the recent battle with the rebels and the hacking of Cal Bircher, the secret rebel spy. The council was gathered together in front of Vader, the Devastator's command staff, who took orders from the spy Colonel Bircher and were complicit in his crimes against the Empire, whether they knew it or not. In the eyes of Vader, this was a disgraced crew. They were the walking dead. The Sith Lord went on to start the meeting by saying that this ship was now tainted. He was not interested in ever taking it over again. This ship was a tool of the Rebel Alliance, and every officer aboard shares in their treason. Naturally, the officers started protesting, saying that Bircher had deceived them all, even Darth Vader. Without a moment to spare, Vader raises his right hand and, using the Force, slams his head across the table. With no pauses, Vader continued to roast and taunt throughout the entire council. Most of the officers were now agitated, angry, indignant. They were all decorated officers, at least one who believes he should outrank Vader himself. Vader continued his malign statement, saying that this council was the weak point of this ship and it is what allowed the spy to take command. This weak point was, however, found. The weak point was this: the entire command staff, a hive of incompetence and degradation. Angrily shouting, one of the officers ordered enough to Vader. One of the others rose up, yelling at Darth Vader, protesting that nearly 38,000 brave sons and daughters of the Empire were serving aboard the Devastator, and he is insulting each and every one. The yelling back and forth continued, with the officer insinuating that Vader was the one who gave the command authorization to Cal Bircher, and it was he who left the Devastator in his care and fled the system like a wounded pup. Whereas the Emperor, one of them said, "We deserve recognition, not insults from his lapdog, if you're still able to even claim that status." These were the words uttered by one of the officers to Darth Vader, calling him a lapdog. Instead of Vader taking measures, he just stood there, torturing the command staff in silence. However, one of them could not take it anymore. He took out a blaster and shot the officer that berated Vader in the face. Next, he turned his blaster to his mouth and uttered the word, "Forgive us, Lord Vader," lastly saying, "Long live the Emperor," pulling the trigger simply because he could not endure this verbal torture anymore, and possibly knowing that physical torture was coming next. Not surprisingly, Ensign Nanda can be seen shocked and deathly scared at everything that had transpired. 2 were down, and 5 more would die that day before Vader was sated. There was nothing the ensign can do but watch on, look over the giant that was Vader. Not only his presence, but his aura of fear as well. The domination of fear that Vader had mastered at this point. In his eyes, he was a true Sith. Lastly, I leave everything that you saw in your hands. Talk to me down in the comments. Leave your thoughts about what you just saw. Thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed, leave a thumbs up down below. Subscribe for dailies. Now you have an awesome day, boys and gals. I'll see you in the next video, and may the Force be with you until then.